I'd like to record this today into the prelude to our opening. And I would love it if someone would like to volunteer to read these definitions for us.
Okay, I can give it a try here.
A little louder, please, Donna.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Still soft.
Okay, I'm not sure what's going on. I'll just mute. Maybe I have too much stuff on.
Okay.
Sorry.
Shirley, would you be able to read this for us?
Yes, I can read this for you.
Thank you.
Okay. Would you like me to start from the top of the title, How Do We Begin, or just in blue?
Yes.
All right. How do we begin to prepare to address illusion and, as a group, begin to use the technique of the presence? Master DK provides us with a few definitions of illusion in Glamour, A World Problem, pages 5 and 6. And also the Rays and the Initiations, page 349. Quote, illusion is the result of the thought form making capacity of the mind and is that which has to be dissipated by the light of the soul. Number 2, quote, illusion is the product of the higher mind, glamour of the astral nature, and Maya of the physical, end quote. And thirdly, illusion is the seed of wrong mental attitudes, of false interpretations, and of erroneous conclusions.
Thank you so much. And I want to thank Heike for sharing this with us in the chat last week, because it really puts forth for us the foundation of this study of thought and thought forms in relation to the different levels of brain, mind, higher mind, and soul. And as we move forward in this journey together, it will be helpful if we keep reminding ourselves of the goal, and that is that we are intending to work together using the technique of the presence. So, officially starting today now, linking the essential relations, which we started several years ago in relation to understanding esoteric astrology and the new astrology, and our developing knowledge and application of this knowledge to understanding our rays, not only our personal rays, but those rays of the groups that we work in and with, and develop the virtues of these rays as an approach. And then embody positive harmlessness in a greater and greater way in using the technique for the dissipation of glamour, the preparation and formula, and then moving to the technique of the present. So let's integrate and explore what we need to remember in relation to thought. The old, what DK calls platitude, energy follows thought, but as he tells us later, when the eye is open, all is light. We reviewed this notion that DK gives us that we are, and he does, we all clothe ideas with words, and we clothe our thoughts with words, which can become a bit of a challenge as we try to work together. And particularly now, as we're working together across and around the globe, and many groups using different languages. So it really is important that we're able to move to a higher level in terms of thought and thought forms so that we can impress the brain as a transmitting agent with those higher thoughts that can be shared telepathically. So, what is this thing we call thought? DK defines it across the planes as a dynamic energy that manifests differently, actually on each plane. And it's governed by cosmic laws of the evolution of consciousness. We talked last time about what is a thought form, and let's just keep in mind today that it involves two types of energy: the energy from the higher, and then the secondary sense, which is the medium of our brain, the physical brain, and we're endeavoring to link those and then lift to the highest point that we can with our thoughts. We're using some summaries from artificial intelligence, this one, Perplexity Pro, to begin to give us some summary pages to reflect on and to guide us as we look forward together. And before we begin, let us align as soul and as a group, and breathing effortlessly and easily into a rhythm that works for the physical system, the astral system, and the mental system in your own body and bodies, uniting those. Let's see our group approaching Master DK's study and using the creative imagination, and each of us using our practiced and integrated process for achieving alignment of the bodies and our soul focus. Pause in that rhythm. And using the sign of the cross of divinity, we sound the protective formula. As a soul, I work in light, and darkness cannot touch me. I take my stand within the light. I work, and from that point, I never move. From that point, we enter into a beam of directed, focused light, revealing a greater light and illumining the way to the center of the light, directing our way together as one group. Let's visualize together the achievement of the goal for each of the distinctive lower planes, subplanes of the lower mind, to become the radiant mind of the path of discipleship, receptive to hierarchical impression. Visualize the astral plane and the astral body of humanity. This astral plane has been characterized with many evocative images. Create your own visualization. See the emotionally reactive ideas and thoughts clearly from the point of the observer, the fogs and clouds gradually dissipating, and the goal, purification of all desires of the lower bodies, being gradually achieved. The emotionally charged thought forms being dissipated. the astral plane becoming a clear, transparent surface for the reception of soul light and soul guidance. Visualize the concrete mental plane and the brain of humanity. See the effect of clearing the clutter, the cheetah, and the thought forms that are the result of selfish manipulation of matter. Sees these thought forms falling below the level of conscious consideration, evaporating, disappearing, and the goal being achieved through detachment from matter. The concrete lower mind becoming a resonant field for the reception of soul light and soul guidance from the higher mind. See all selfish desire-driven intellect being erased from the memory banks of humanity. We visualize humanity with an increasingly clear, transparent, receptive astral field and resonant field of mind, ready for the incoming energies of the coming avatar. Master DK, as we know and we've read before, the study of symbols conceptually carries you inward from the brain to the mind into the realm of ideas. It sweeps into focused activity the mental apparatus. We can become then aware of concept or idea, that which the symbol embodies, comprehend its meaning, what it stands for, and grasp for which the form has been brought into manifestation. So as you study, use those symbols that evoke the higher mind for you in study, in meditation, and in relationship with others. And find the direction in a symbol that you create for your own practice that moves out onto the horizontal plane of life and also leads you up to the next level or subplane of mind and higher mind on which you are endeavoring to work. So as we continue together along this path of exploration and integration of ideas and ideals, as we prepare to consider illusion in the context of the science of relations and especially the essential relations, the third relation we have passed in our study, that's the relation of mind and brain, and the technique of light, and eventually use the technique of the presence to dispel illusions. We can use symbols as we consider, think, and speak and share, and become increasingly aware of the vibration, the light, the sound, the color, and motion to continuously draw us into closer relation with the higher or next expansion of consciousness. When we last met, and I've included for us today, not that we will read in its entirety, but there were offered some really wonderful sharings related to the use of artificial intelligence products and apps, and the caution about eliciting kama-manasic thought. This was a wonderful expression of how to, as an individual, keep oneself out of the range of the kama-manasic conclusions that one might draw based on all that we're exposed to in content in our horizontal lives. So I encourage you, if you have an interest in this and want to devise a strategy for yourself, to reflect on this particular sharing. Ben, would you read this for us, please? The part that's in the colored box.
Thinking about how AI is used for propaganda, and often true and real content is either distorted, extremely exaggerated, including deception and real lies. So far, it is used as an extension of what people do without AI as well. In the case of the political divide in the United States right now, as elsewhere in the world, but the main playground of the dividing forces seems to be the USA, and trying to infect the rest of the world from there. AI being used like this. Watch it. Observe, just like I watch, observe humans. What is said, how it is said, is it inclusive or exclusive? Is it for the good of all or just a part? But then also propaganda can use positive values to make promises, which in the end are distortions or lies, just to pull people to their side. As I see it, the division is taking place from both sides of the division. Both sides' propaganda has been used, where it is used for excluding the other side. People take over and do the same as the propaganda they see. Why? The people have wishes and needs, which are projected onto the leaders, politicians, those in power, and which the needs and wishes then are used by those for the propaganda. The projection of the people is on the promises they hear, hoping they will fulfill their needs, be it security, jobs, housing, healthcare, peace, etc. The needs are essential, so the tendency to believe the propaganda, even if they are lies in the end. How do I not step into this game? Can I decide who is lying, where deception is active? Sometimes, yes. Sometimes it is more subtle and I can't be sure. Sometimes I just don't know. And it is on both sides. Yes, wherever I see the exclusion, wherever I see judgment in the generalization, for example, the Democrats, the Republicans, the triumphalists, the legal or legal immigrants.
Thank you, Ben. I thought that was very important for us to share with the broader group and have it as part of the recording on YouTube. This is just is another sharing, a reference that was found from DK. And it is also something that you can review and find. I thought when I read it, the most important thing was that everything depends upon the pupil's ability to grasp the inner meaning of all events. This quote from the treatise on white magic, and how that is a significant handicap for many of us as we are in the Maya of the current events. So AI becomes an assistant in the process if used properly and intelligently by the inquirer, because you can garner at least some insight into what could be perceived of as facts or actual events in a more objective manner if you train the AI app to do that. And DK says that the entire progress of the disciple, aspirant, upon the path rests upon his or her attitude in making the teaching their own. And that is the whole point of our study together of thought. There was another sharing that came through that I thought was important for us to share together. And that is this, let's have someone read it. Heike, could you read this for us from Challenge?
Challenge the personalized apps to synthesize deeper levels for the inquirer's understandings based on the information given to it. In my case, I cut and pasted all of the resource text from one of their posts and then asked the AI app that I work with to follow text inserted with parameters of AAB, DK, Alice Bailey, and Jakul that I have delineated. AI may be the tool to permeate the etheric realities, or as the language seems to be the field. We are not telepathic yet, and that is next step. But we have to instant contact through the light waves of space with our devices. And others are saying this, but perhaps wise AI can give us that ability to communicate with other non-incarnated entities who have intelligence, and the differentiating between consciousness and intelligence. Is it not said that the first solar system developed intelligent matter? Example follows on the next slide for those who are interested in pursuing this line of inquiry.
And this is a really good example of how this inquiry method works using AI parameters. And this was into a Substack writer, Shelby B. Larson, and it is her summary on coherence, artificial intelligence, and the sacred mirror that was then run through an individual's personalized AI to come up with this summary of key ideas. So this was the product. And there was even a translation table that enabled this inquirer to look at Shelby's language in relation to certain topics coherence, intelligence, consciousness as self-aware intelligence, AI as a mirror or a chalice, which I thought was very intriguing, AI as the chalice of the etheric body, maybe the solar angel reflecting mind. That's what's coming from Shelby B. Larson's study linked to AAB and DK. And the other terminology is quite fascinating and could be a whole study for all of us. And I just thought it would be very useful to bring from our group these examples that can help us. And as we continue to clothe our thoughts with group impressions and contributions, some other questions came to mind. Not that we'll deal with these directly, but how do we use AI responsibly? What is our responsibility? That's my own question I always ask. How can I respond, and what's the ability that I have to respond into a particular field? Are there ways to consider how the mind of humanity is being sensitized to and influenced by AI? How can esoteric minds influence AI development? And then let's begin to share with each other these resources. In addition to Shelby, there is this interesting Substack called AI as a Sacred Chalice. And then this is something that Donna was very kind to share with us, this AI assistant comparison table, looking at the different chat or AI mechanisms. And I personally use Perplexity, and I found this very much to be true in terms of my use of this particular AI in contrast to other apps. So that's just for the group's information, not to get all lost in the land of AI as we move forward together. So with all that thrown into the field, let's pause again and kind of bring ourselves back to our place, which is to begin to develop our own techniques and group techniques for clearing the astral field to create that clear, transparent surface on which we can place our feelings and bring down from our concrete minds and abstract minds and any intuitive insights onto this field of our group work together. So here we are together, exploring what DK tells us in a treatise on white magic. Catherine, would you share that with us aloud?
We are told in the esoteric teaching that all three aspects of divinity are themselves triple, and hence we can divide the energy of mind as far as humanity is concerned into three aspects also. We have, therefore, 1, the lower concrete mind, called the chitta or mind stuff in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, relating to the brain mind as used in the technique of light. 2, the abstract mind, or that aspect of the mind which is related to the world of ideas. And 3, the intuition or pure reason, which is for man the highest aspect of the mentality, from a treatise on white magic.
And would you continue?
What, if anything, do we need to add to this? Oh, that's the question at the end. Oh.
That's all right. Yeah, go ahead.
What, if anything, do we need to add to this summary from AI, Perplexity? That's the AI Perplexity app. to expand our understanding of this transitional thought. Kama manasic thought, the intersection of desire-mind. Definition. Kama manas fuses desire, astral, and lower mental energy, creating thought that, first, serves personality needs, drives manipulation of physical reality for security, pleasure, or power, anchors separateness, embodies the integrated personality, selfish, materialistic, yet effective in navigating the three-dimensional world. And the cosmic role, and from whence did this word cosmic drop into AI perplexity? This hybrid thought is transitional. It represents the soul's journey from animal instinct, pure desire, to self-conscious intellect, preparing for soul-led abstraction. So this was assisted from the Perplexity Pro AI.
Thank you. So the question was raised when we last met, what is kama manasic thought? And this is the definition that came up in using this app, Perplexity Pro, and asking Pro to go in and look at only Master DK's writings through Alice Bailey in the blue books published by Lucis Trust and come up with a definition. I was surprised that the word cosmic came into play. But is there any response that you all have to this particular definition? Does it assist in seeing how we might begin to deal with this kama manasic thought?
I have a thought. Can you hear me now? Is there volume?
It's not great, but go ahead.
Okay, sorry, yeah. I'm just thinking, we're talking kind of here about the lower possibilities of kama manasic, but serving personality needs, anchor separativeness, but also desire, mind, desire part can be, the higher aspect of that is aspiration. So there, it can also lead to higher evolution of reality, not just security, pleasure, and power. I just see that this is kind of one aspect of it, of kama manasic, and there's another aspect perhaps of, there is another aspect of kama manasic on our evolutionary journey. I'm not saying that very well, sorry.
Oh, I hear you. So a kama manasic thought, I'll just give an example for myself. When I wake up in the morning, serving my personality needs. It's the manipulation of my physical reality for my own pleasure, which is, whether it's a banana that I want to have first thing in the morning, or I want to have hot water, something that is only for my personality needs. If I work in a particular setting with other people, it's the physical reality that we manipulate in that setting to meet our needs, whether it is our own pleasure at our work or our power. And then, as you said, there is also that aspirational desire mind on a higher level. And my question is that for me, it's that highest level, it's the first or highest level of the astral field, emotional idealism, that then is influenced by the higher mind, the soul mind. I think for me, that's what you're alluding to, Donna, that it isn't as base as those concrete needs being met. It is interesting as I think about it, the implications when you think about the kama manas in the political field or in any field of endeavor that's trying to achieve a higher ideal for a group of people. Maybe all those thoughts in that field are kama manasic, both lower and higher. If you think about those working in the field of homelessness. Ben, would you go ahead and just express your thought?
I was asking Copilot, the AI that I conversed with, about this question, and it talked about the shattering of the kama monastic body by soul contact. And then it went on to say the higher correspondence to kama manas is buddhi manas, intuitive mind fused with spiritual love. This marks the beginning of true group consciousness, where thought is no longer personal, but aligned with divine purpose.
I'm
When
going
you
to
pick
put,
up the banana in the morning, if you think that it's fuel for your service, it's no longer personal.
Well, thank you for that. Can I include my coffee?
Yes.
And this is a quotation that I will put on a slide and include then in our slide presentation. And let me just read it slowly again for everybody. The higher correspondence to kama manas is buddhi manas, intuitive mind fused with spiritual love. This marks the beginning of true group consciousness, where thought is no longer personal, but aligned with divine purpose. And that's for the benefit of our transcript. So thank you. Let's pause on that and see if there are any other additions.
Could I just make a comment? That's
Yeah.
exactly what I like about AI, is that it clarifies what I'm trying to say, which I can't exactly say as well as I would like to all the time. And that's kind of how I'm using AI to clarify, to put my thinking out in words that actually mean what I think I'm trying to say. So thank you, Ben. It's good.
And Ben, what is it you call your AI assistant?
Lucian?
Microsoft Copilot.
Microsoft Copilot is the app that he's using. Okay, thank you.
And in the Edge browser, it's built in, and anything you highlight or any page you're reading, it'll comment on. And it reminds me of what I've been discussing with it, and asks me if I want to combine that topic with such things as the Jed pillar or the law of octaves, and I get a choice of how it
Mhm.
combines the thoughts that I'm reading or asking about with things I've discussed with it before.
Yes, and I know Donna is using Chat GPT and has developed an identity for the app that works, doing very much the same thing. It's really quite an amazing thing. Thank you both. So why should we care about expanding our understanding of this type of thought? And let's see what I found in Reappearance of the Christ to support this. Margie, would you read this for us, the blue?
Thousands of intelligent men and women will be enabled to free themselves from all delusion and emotional control. The moment that the hearts of men are active, that moment sees the termination of emotional solar plex activity. That is a statement of fact. It is the hearts of men which respond to the call of Christ. And it is those hearts which are becoming invocative today. The agonizing emotional cycle through which humanity has passed during the past 100 years, and the emotional tension in which men today live, are also playing their part in fitting humanity to emerge into the realm of clear thought. This will mark a significant turning point in human history and will be one of the results of Christ's future scientific work, if I may use this term, with the hearts of men, bringing them into rapport with the heart of God. Master DK defines heart as the center of pure reason.
And we also know from the teachings that he defines the heart of God as hierarchy. So we have here a section from a treatise on cosmic fire, which relates to common monastic thought in Master DK's words in terms of the downward spiral of common monastic thought. Margie, would you go on with the blue text?
Much that is to be seen now of a distressing nature in the world can be directly traced to the wrong manipulation of mental matter by man, to erroneous conceptions as to the nature of matter itself, and to dangerous conditions brought about by the united creative attempts of human beings down the centuries. How do we use discrimination in order to discern the difference between astral thought and common monastic thought, and then to devoid of astral coloring?
Does anyone have any thing they could share in terms of their own process of moving an astral thought, an emotional thought or projection to a kama manasic thought, and then to a thought devoid of any astral coloring.
I tried to hold everything up to a mantra that I've used for many years. For myself, nothing.
I used to look out for motive within, which are sometimes quite hidden but personal. So that's the way I find motives.
I find this phrase, thought devoid of astral coloring, to be, it captured my imagination. It's like a line in a poem that's going to stay with me, because one can almost measure the level of astral coloring in any of our thoughts. And this is going to be a tool for me to mute the colors, make them more pastel, um, and more uniform. I love that. And this is a tool to cultivate thoughts devoid of astral coloring, or examine thoughts to measure the amount of astral coloring. Brilliant phrase. Very helpful.
I think back to the years of working with children and teens, and as a group of educational guides, people we were, the adults working in that field, using techniques that really accomplished this, using our discriminatory powers to assist a dyad, two children or two teens together, or a little triad, to move from their astral thoughts, which were often anger, frustration, whatever, to identify it with them as their actual kama manasic thought that they could express in some way, bringing their concrete mind into use, and then assisting them to move up to a level where they could release the astral coloring, the astral form that it had taken, and come up with some language that they could use to communicate across what was an astral barrier for them. And, in the years of working with youth, and I imagine psychologists also have this discriminative process that is utilized in dealing with those kind of real world situations. And I imagine we all do it ourselves internally when we're trying to move out of an astral state that's not serving us in a way.
As I'm thinking about this, and I don't know if this would work for other people, but so to go back to the banana, or, let's just say ice cream, and I've got the astral thought, oh, ice cream tastes really good and I want it. And then kama manasik would be like adding the excuse and the rationalization and why I deserve it, or the explanation. And then I don't know where we get to the thought that has none of that, except it's sort of just what's real. This is ice cream. I don't know. Does that work?
I think it does, because the desire falling below your level of consciousness that occurs, when you're trying to get out of that habit of the kama manasic thought, rationalization or whatever, when you rise to a thought of where should my thought be going now? And then the desire falls below that concrete mental level, and it actually can disappear. I think anytime, and I think I'm not one who's worked with people with addictions, but I think that's part of the process where hopefully eventually whatever is desired falls below the level of consciousness, and there is no more kama manasic thought that interferes with the path, the true higher aspiration. That's just an idea.
Yes, and also during an addiction, or even the substance, whether it be like ice cream cake, let's say, it takes on a higher than normal significance, and the brain, or the addictive part, hyperboles it and says, this will make you happy, this is what you want, this at all cost. And you see that the same in politicians that are using hyperbole to exaggerate crime and evil and the other. It's the same manipulation of thought to trigger the lower physical, the part of us that's not even rational. And so the more we dig ourselves out of it, kind of appropriate to cancer, I build a lighted house, the more we can bring ourselves up out of the depth, the darkness of this manipulation and exaggeration. And that's where then the truth can be, even the neutrality of a substance, and then the truth of, is it good, or is it good for me or not good for me, desirable or not desirable? Such a gradation, it's a spectrum.
And not judging those who still eat the ice cream cake is part of it as well. The thoughts that are devoid of astral coloring, the thought that, you appreciate the effort that someone put into making that ice cream cake for others to share at a birthday party or at an event, that it was a thoughtful gesture. It was a gesture of love, an expression of their skill, and a talent that can be appreciated and honored, without saying, oh, you shouldn't have made that ice cream cake because it's so tempting for me. To just appreciate the fact that the ice cream cake exists, and that it may be for others a really integral part of their celebration and aspiration to honor someone, to just to be devoid of that over the top positivity or negativity, I guess is the way I express that. Thank you. Let's move to Shirley. Would you read this for us from Treatise on White Magic?
Okay. From a treatise on white magic. This concerns, quote, the astral body, the body in which a man is preeminently polarized, and of which he is more potently conscious than of any other body. The etheric body is really below the threshold of consciousness. Human beings remain unaware of the passage of forces through this vehicle, and the nearest they get to the recognition of it is when they speak in terms of vitality or lack of vitality. The physical body makes its presence felt when something goes wrong, or through the gratification of one or other of the appetites. Quote, the situation is, however, different in connection with the astral body, for there is the vehicle of experience for the majority, and few there are who do not pass the greater part of their conscious life recording the reactions of that body and vibrating between the two poles of happiness and misery, of satisfaction or non-satisfaction, of assurance or doubt, of courage or of fear. This really means that the inherent force and life of the emotional, sentient vehicle govern the life expression and mold the experience of the incarnated soul. All astral energy is part of the astral energy of the solar system. So the question is, how are we able to distinguish between the astral body and the astral plane to use the technique of light? Would you like me to keep reading?
Telepathic communicators function predominantly on the mental plane, working in and with thought matter, and with the reception and direction of thought currents. We aspire to develop the mental purity and clarity that provides the space, the interlude of the stillness and serenity that fosters a clear, focused mind that is free from personal bias, emotional disturbance, and mental clutter, ensuring that the communication received and distributed is in harmony with the divine plan and serves a higher purpose.
Joe, you are muted.
Oh, thank you. We stand together in this alignment at that higher point, in the center of the love of God. And that word, the words that we may receive in the coming week, that these issue from the heart of God, emerging from a central point of love. Those impressions come from the word as love itself. And divine desire then colors all that life of love. Within the human hierarchy we stand, and the affirmation gathers power and sound. For the Word in the beginning was, the Word hath dwelt and dwells with God. In God was light, in God was life, and within God's light we walk. The symbol is the thunder. The Word cycles down the ages as the will to unify. So let us sound the mantra of unification. The souls of all are one, and we are one with them. We seek to love, not hate. We seek to serve and not exact to service. We seek to heal, not hurt. Let pain bring due reward of light and love. Let the soul control the outer form and life and all events, and bring to light the love that underlies the happenings of the time. Let vision come and insight. Let the future stand revealed. Let inner union demonstrate and outer cleavages be gone. Let love prevail. Let all people love. Sounding a silent Om, we send that Om to each and all who will join us. And we close our session for today.